Cool. Here we go. Cool. Yeah! Only way to fly. Yeah, this is sweet. Yeah, absolutely. Nice right there. There. It is opening up over there. Yeah, a little bit.
Alright everybody, we are out here away from the airport. I don't know if I can come on and talk to you guys. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Good?
Fantastic.
We have a little ways until we get into the Grand Canyon, so a few things for you guys here in the helicopter. Try to stay cool. I have air coming through the vents as much as I can. I wish I could have more coming out, but that's as much as I've got. So try to stay cool. Make sure that top vent does point out there. That's the only vent that gets out on the window. It gets a little hot over there. Also, make sure you look outside as much as you can. The more you look out into the distance, the less likely to have to use the white bag. So don't stare at your cameras or phones the whole time. You can look down and around. Just try to look out on the horizon as much as you can. You will feel better, I promise, okay?
I feel fine looking down. This is awesome.
All right. So my name's Daniel. I'm your pilot and tour guide here at the Grand Canyon. Been flying helicopters for over 14 years, working here at the Grand Canyon almost 5 years now. And originally, I'm from Idaho, but me and my wife live in Phoenix now. A little better drive to get to work that way. So, where are you guys from? We will start right here behind me. Where are you from?
Oregon.
Oregon. You too?
Atlanta.
Michigan.
And Michigan, all over the states here. So, welcome over here to Northern Arizona, everybody. Here in a minute, I'll be welcoming everyone to the Grand Canyon. If you guys have questions, you can ask at any time. If I don't respond, I promise I'm not ignoring you. I do have to make radio calls quite a bit here and there during the flight. So if I don't respond to a question, I promise I'm not ignoring you. Just wait a minute, ask your question again, and I'll do my best to give you a good answer, okay?
Right.
All right, right now we're over the Kaibab National Forest, which is the home to the highest population of ponderosa pine trees in the world. Those are the bigger pine trees you can see down there below us. They have kind of an orangish red bark that's extra thick. Makes them a little bit more resistant to forest fires than average pine trees. We do get a lot of lightning storms through here, and they start small fires. You can see the little patches throughout the forest where there were small fires. Usually they burn slow enough that the rainstorms come in and put them out, but every once in a while we do get a pretty good sized fire out in this area. Over there to the right in the distance, you can see the mountains out there. Those are the San Francisco Peaks. Big mountain is Mount Humphreys. It stands a little over 12,500 feet above sea level. That's the tallest mountain in Arizona. It has a ski resort up on top of it. It is above Flagstaff. But a couple 100,000 years ago, that mountain was a mile taller than it is now. And it erupted into a volcano that left lava flows throughout the area. There's even a lava flow down at the bottom of the Grand Canyon I'll point out to you guys once we get over the top of it.
Well,
Alright, everyone's starting to see the Grand Canyon over there to the left side of the helicopter. Little reference to where we're at here in the Grand Canyon National Park. We are just flying over the Grandview Ridge. Grandview Viewpoint is back over there to the left. Little point ahead and to the left is the Moran Viewpoint, and then up on the ridge straight out in front of us is the Desert View Viewpoint with the Desert View Tower and the east entrance into the Grand Canyon National Park. We are going to enter into the canyon over the Great Big Cliff right up here. You guys ready and excited for that?
Sure. Yes.
Alright, now the warning is when you do go from a few hundred feet off the ground to a little over 5,000 feet off the ground in a matter of seconds. The reality of things is it'll be a straight and level flight. No dipping or dropping. Sorry to let you down if that's what you were looking for. It's just not going to happen. You don't need that. We're going off a 5,000 foot cliff anyway. So we are flying where and how and when we can fly is told to us by the government. So this is how we are told to enter in the canyon. So this is it. I will give you plenty of warning before we get there so you can save memory and battery life on your cameras. That way you don't have to worry about burning it up before we get there. And in case you close your eyes for it, you can relive the experience so you have it on camera, okay?
It's all the same. I'm going to record the whole flight. I brought an extra battery.
That's up to you. I am too.
Awesome.
Sometimes they turn out, sometimes they don't.
So you said the desert view will be off on the right-hand side then?
Desert View Tower is right out. It'll be on the right side of the helicopter as we enter into the canyon. Alright everyone, if you guys want to go ahead and get your cameras ready, now is a good time to get ready to start taking some pictures or video. I do have people video outside, other people video here in the helicopter, and some people just sit and enjoy the flight. Whatever you guys do, that's totally cool with me. Everyone ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Look at that.
Very cool.
Oh.
That's incredible.
Alright everyone, welcome to the Grand Canyon, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world.
That is too awesome.
Right down there in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, you guys can start to see the Colorado River, which originates up near Denver, Colorado, in the high Rocky Mountains, and flows all the way down to the Sea of Cortez in Mexico. That's a little over 1,400 miles long. Makes it the second longest river in the United States. We have 277 miles of the river here on the Grand Canyon. That is how they measure the length of the canyons along the Colorado River. About 300 wide on average. Anywhere from 10 to 30 feet deep out in the middle of it, and some of the best whitewater rafting in the world is here in the Grand Canyon, so occasionally we do see river rafters down there. Right here you can see the river snakes back and forth through the sandbars below us. This is called the Unkar Delta. Thousands of years ago, Pueblo Native American tribes actually lived on those sandbars. But they were driven out of there by drought. A few of the points out here through the canyon, heading to the left, this close point with the flat spot on top, it's called Apollo's Temple. Just behind that, the red point sticking up is Venus. The taller point with the 10 point on top of that is Jupiter's Temple, and then the rounded dome one in the distance with the vegetation on it is Juno's Temple. Up ahead and to the right, see the black mound of dirt down at the bottom of the canyon. That is the Truor lava hill. That is the end of the lava flow that came from Mount Humphreys. See a little bit of the black rock down here below us to the left. It'll float underneath the helicopter, wrapping around Ochoa Point, which is the point we're going to fly over here in a minute. From there, it blocked off the river for a few thousand years. After a few thousand years of erosion, you can see how the river cut through the lava hill right here and returned back to its original flow.
Like there's some kayakers down there, some boaters.
Yep, those are actually usually rafts. They do have kayakers, but barely see kayakers. The rafts are about as big as this helicopter that you see down there most of the time. Over there to the left, a great big score point up on the ridgeline there is Siegfried's Pyre. From Siegfried's, you can see a red ridgeline running out into the middle of the canyon with a point in the middle of that. That is Cochise Point, named after an early Native American Indian chief. And right out there in the middle of the canyon, that point on its own, is Gunter's Castle, named after one of the earliest explorers of the Grand Canyon. here in front of us, this red mountain, is Temple Butte, one of my favorite mountains in the Grand Canyon. It's one of, that's because I get to fly right over the top of it. From here, Temple Butte does look kind of small, but it's over a mile long, and from the river to the top of the points on each end is over 2,600 feet. Right here in front of us, these cliffs that drop down below us are called the Desert Palisades. Desert Palisades is one of the most sheer rock faces here in the Grand Canyon. It's one of the few places where the cliffs drop almost all the way down to the Colorado River down below us. That's about 4,000 feet from the river compared to the top of these cliffs. Out here in front of us, you can see the Painted Desert. Painted Desert gets its name from the colors, look like they're kind of streaked across the desert there in front of us. That's the home of the Navajo Indian Reservation, which is the largest Native American reservation in the U.S. It is everything you see in front of you as far as you can see right now.
Wow.
Right here below us, you can see the Little Colorado River. It is kind of murky. That's because we've had so many monsoons over the last couple months here at the Canyon, washing a lot of silt down in there. It does flow into the Grand Canyon. It's a tributary. You see where the two rivers join together there to the left at what's called the Little Colorado River confluence. Alright, headed back in towards the Grand Canyon, you guys get a good perspective of the canyon right here. We are looking at about an eighth of the Grand Canyon here in front of us. So you can imagine how much more of the canyon there is as you continue downriver towards Las Vegas. Grand Canyon's about a mile deep on average. There are 10 different layers through the canyon, 13 different colors of rock. And the temperatures down there in the bottom of the canyon should be up 95 to about 110 degrees today. Woo! Gotta have your mic a little closer to your mouth, can't quite hear you.
Flying at 10,000.
Right now we're at 7,500 feet. When we climb up over the north one, we get up at about 9 is all. Right here through this part of the canyon, you see a line of mesas. The one on the left is the Butte. Head to the right is the Kaibab Butte. The smaller rock formation next is Nagosa, and the big one at the very end is called Nankui Mesa. On the back side of these mesas, you'll see a fault line run through this part of the canyon. The fault line is pretty easy to see if you know what you're looking for. Most of the layers in the canyon lay horizontally, like they're stacked up on top of each other, but at the fault line, you'll see the lines bend. That comes straight up out of the ground. This is the Butte fault line. It is one of the major contributing factors for making the Grand Canyon what it is today. So it wasn't just the Colorado River carving out the Grand Canyon. Underneath this fault line are tectonic plates that move and shift to cause earthquakes. That's helped open up the Grand Canyon to the size you see it here. Alright, now that we're here in the middle of the canyon, off to the right, you can see the far east rim of the Grand Canyon, and to the left you can see the north rim. From here you can see the north rim is quite a bit higher than the rest of the canyon. On average, it's about 1,500 feet higher, a good 10 to 15 degrees cooler, and it does get a lot more moisture than the rest of the canyon. So when we get up there, you see there's a lot greener, a lot more forest, bigger trees. It's even greener than the south rim one. For the east rim out there, you can see it's very dry, arid desert, more like the rest of the canyon. Very different climates. Right here, the Grand Canyon is 10 miles wide from the east rim across to the north rim.
Wow.
Wildlife.
Just a sec. What'd you say?
What kind of wildlife would you?
In the canyon, you will find occasional deer, occasional coyotes. They have bighorn sheep, wild burros, rabbits, creepy crawly stuff down in there. A lot of birds, a lot of hawks and other birds, and there are Californian condors in the area. Later on, as we get into winter, we actually get some bald eagles in the area. Right here in front of us, you can see the cliffs that slope off to the right. This is Boundary Ridge. Boundary Ridge marks the official beginning of the Grand Canyon and the end of what's known as Marble Canyon. So everything over there to the right, you can see smaller and narrower. That's actually Marble Canyon. That starts near the Glen Canyon Dam, which is the dam that holds back Lake Powell by Page, Arizona. Has places like Lee's Ferry, Horseshoe Bend up in that area, but you can see it comes down here and opens up quite significantly. That's why these cliffs right here are the official beginning of the Grand Canyon right here.
How fast are you going?
Right now we're going about 100 miles an hour. When we're over to the trees, usually we speed up to about 120, 130 miles an hour. Oh yeah, no, it doesn't feel like it.
You get a lot of thermals.
In springtime it's usually quite bumpy, but that's more because of the winds. Occasionally we do get some little chop from some thermals. Helicopters just kind of handle thermals a little bit different than regular airplanes. But you do feel them a little bit. We usually kind of know where they're at more than anything, so you, over the years you kind of develop, you fly 10 feet to the right here, you're okay, kind of thing. Just ahead to the right, you can see that flat spot up on top of the canyon with a grove of trees on the edge of the cliffs. That's Imperial Point. That's the highest point in the entire Grand Canyon. It's almost 9,000 feet above sea level up there. Head to the right, the rock face sticking up like a thumb sitting on the ridgeline is Mount Hayden. Mount Hayden is one of the most popular places here at the Great Canyon for people to go rock climbing. Alright, we're going to climb up out of the canyon now. As we do, we fly past Brady's Point, which is right up here heading to left. Kind of has a unique shape to it. Everybody sees different things in Brady's Point. I've heard just about anything you can imagine. Castles, crowns, the Titanic, you name it. My first year working here though, my nephew told me it looked like a pirate ship, so that's kind of stuck with me.
I like the pirate ship.
Thanks.
Or maybe a big steamer.
I can go with that too. I have been told the top of it looks like King Kong from King Kong's head from the other side as well. I can't go with that one. Alright everyone, welcome to the North Rim. If we quickly look out to the left, you can see the Bright Angel Canyon. That is the widest point in the entire Grand Canyon. It is 18 miles across the canyon right there. The bottom of that is where Phantom Ranch is. Kaibab and Brady, the hiking trails are in that area. So that's where all the hiking really happens, and the mule rides, that all happens over there. It is a no-fly zone, so we're not allowed, none of the tour routes or anything goes in that area. So if you do see a helicopter when you're along the rim there or down on the trail, that is Park Service. They're either doing some surveys or trail maintenance or rescuing someone. So that all happens there. No-fly zone for us. Also in the Bright Angel Canyon area this summer, they found a new California condor nest.
Cool.
And right down here below us, you can see the burn scar from the forest fire we had 8 years ago. Started by lightning back over there to the left and got real hot, and they allowed it to burn right through here, burn down a lot of trees. But you can see a lot of trees already growing back. Most of them are aspen trees. The aspen trees grow back first. They kind of create a environment with a canopy for the ponderosas to grow slower and later. They'll eventually overtake the aspen trees, and the aspen trees die out.
Are the aspens normally that color, or is it just
this is fall colors. They're just starting into them. You can see mostly the yellow, little bit of orange and reds. When we get the cold temperatures, I mean, it started to dip down into the 30s. A little bit of freezing for some of them, but when it freezes, we'll get our first hard freeze. They'll go right reddish pink. What's left on them. The yellow ones will actually eventually fall off. So this is usually, I always like the time when it's got multiple colors more than the one it's just the reds. here in front of us, you guys are going to see the most natural golf course in the world. Unfortunately, there is no tee boxes or holes on it yet. One day, I'm just going to come up here and put them in. In the spring, it goes right green and looks like the most beautiful golf course you've ever seen, ever. Pretty sure I could pretty easily squeeze in 36 holes onto this area right here. It's quite a bit of land right up here.
How much snow would you get here in a normal winter?
On a normal winter, we'll have anywhere from 10 to 15 feet of snow up here. Last year we didn't get much. The year before that, I know they got about 12 feet. So normal winter up here is about 15 feet, kind of cap. Alright, we're going to have a nice easy descent down into the canyon. As we drop down into the canyon, I do recommend some pictures and video right through here. It's a really pretty area. It's a little narrower, so it stays a little more shaded, a little cooler than the rest of the canyon. Also gets most of the moisture that the North Rim does, and all the runoff. So you'll see it's very green right through here. There's even pine trees almost all the way down to the bottom of the canyon, so it really turns out really good on camera right through here.
Down we go!
Alright everybody, welcome back down here into the canyon. Over there to the right, you see that sandy colored cliff face? That is the Copenino Sandstone. Copenino Sandstone layer is prevalent through the entire canyon. You see it to the left in front of us and on the Soundstream as well. That's because millions of years ago, that layer was actually the ocean floor. Hard to imagine now it's up here 7,500 feet above sea level, but paleontologists have found fossilized marine life throughout that entire layer.
The land still rising?
Slowly. It gains about a millimeter every 10 years. So that tells you about how quick it moves.
They're gone.
Over here to the left, this great big mountain that comes up out of the bottom of the canyon is called Shiva's Temple. It is the largest freestanding mesa in the entire Grand Canyon. It's separated from the North Rim. There's a trail that comes from the North Rim and goes up on top of there. The explorers that used it to get up there first found remnants and ruins from Native American tribe of Anasazi, the tribe that lived up on top of there. down there in the bottom of the canyon. You see how it smooths out and then drops sharply, and there's a real dark layer down there at the bottom of the canyon. See that same layer clear down there to the left at the very bottom of the canyon? That is the Vishnu Shust. Vishnu Shust is one of the oldest exposed layers of rock we have on our planet. It is the oldest layer in the Grand Canyon, dating back to being 1.8 billion years old down there. In front of us, this point is the Tower of Ra. Straight over there to the left, next to it is the as Osiris, kind of a twin peak thing here, named after the Egyptian gods. In the late 1800s, there was a group of people, of men that were in charge of charting and mapping out the Grand Canyon for the U.S. government. They believed that it was such an amazing place, it should be shared with the world, so that a lot of the points get names from different cultures, different icons from those cultures and stuff like that. Down there to the right at the bottom of the canyon, you see where the river narrows, and there's some whitewater rapids on the right side called Crystal Rapids. Here in a moment on the left, we'll see some similar rapids called Herman Rapids. Crystal Rapids is the biggest, and Herman Rapids is the third biggest rapids in the Grand Canyon. They don't look like much from here, but the waves through those points are 15 to 20 feet tall.
Wow!
On high water years, Crystal Rapids waves can get over 30 feet tall, and on low water years, Herman Rapids waves can get over 30 feet tall. So they kind of do opposite things depending on how much water's coming down through the river. There to the left, this canyon running back into the south rim is called the Herman's Canyon. The top of that is where Hermit's Rest is. Kind of a point sticking out there, you can see. The westernmost point on the south end of the road goes to. It is a limited access road. They do shuttle tours, guided tours, comes out here, you can walk or ride a bike, but this is kind of limited access because that big point sticking out back over there to the left kind of behind us now is called Hopi Point. Most popular place at the Grand Canyon for sunset, so they kind of limit the crowds out this way, that way. My favorite point on the entire south rim, regardless of the time of day, is Pima Point. That's this closer one sticking out into the canyon over there on the other side of Herman's Canyon. It's my favorite because if you're there, if it's quiet, you can hear the river. It's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
All right, let's get back in here to the south rim. I need to talk to the airport, get some weather clearance. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, everybody cleared us back into the airport, which is good, because I like to land on the helipads, and they don't let me land in the canyon. So, thank you guys for coming to flying with us here at Maverick Helicopters. Glad you guys chose to come fly with us. Hopefully everyone had a good personal experience, saw the best parts of the canyon. You'll get some good pictures and video?
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
Alright. As we get back in here to the airport, I do need to isolate myself, just safety regulations I have to follow until we're back on the ground. Once we're on the ground, I'll be shutting down the helicopter. Once everything stops moving, then we can get off and get some photos and video for you guys. What I need you guys to do is please stay in your seats, seatbelts on, open the doors closed. The ground crew will help us get off, so you guys don't have to worry about anything. Just enjoy the rest of the flight, and I'll be back on to talk to you guys on the ground, okay?
At what point did you say we could take our seatbelts off?
Not until everything stops moving, so I'll see you guys in a little bit, okay?
Thank you.
All right, see you in a bit.
Yeah, and I still got 20% battery left. Been recording since we took off. Currently about 41 and a half minutes. Wonder what they're doing with those green ponds back there that they're putting in. Can't hear you.
Swimming pools for a new hotel.
Railroad track.
I wish we could make another pass.
I know it, right? This is too awesome.
Your credit card, I'm sure they can arrange it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So short.
Cell tower.
Yep. Exactly what that is.
How many people have lived in a helicopter before?
This is my first ride.
Our first.
My
One
third.
other time I did ride over Niagara Falls.
Wow.
How was that?
It was a lot of fun. Not as long as this one.
Oh, it was even shorter than this.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I was in Niagara Falls last month.
That's somewhere else I've never been. That's the hardest part right here. Taking off and landing. Touchdown.